What's up, treasure hunters? So I've got some more thrift store finds to go over with you that I found recently, as well as quite a bit of auction buys. I started looking on online auctions because for whatever reason, the thrift stores weren't giving me many treasures until this past weekend. So let's take a look at what I found. So up until this past weekend, I really only found maybe one or two things at the thrift stores over, the past week before that. For whatever reason, I don't know if I'm getting more picky in my selections or if they're just really, it just seemed like there was a lot of decorative art, like stuff you'd find at Target or, those like Home Goods or something. Wasn't a lot of great pieces of art. Didn't find any nice pieces of studio pottery or no art glass. There was a lot of stuff in there, but none of the stuff really caught my eye from a value perspective until this past weekend where I finally got a bunch of stuff from two stops that I made. So let's get into some of the stuff that I did find. And this is one of the finds that I had last week. And this is a really nice, it's an antique hand-painted plate. And this is actually Kutaya. It's Turkish. And I found this just sitting on the shelf with all the china and all this other stuff. It is marked here on the back. It's kind of hard to see. It's pretty faded. So Kutaya ceramics or pottery, when I looked this up online, I knew this was old, just given, I don't know if you'll be able to see, but there's crazing all over the glaze, and given the style and how there are some imperfections, like natural imperfections, like little bumps from it being made, all of that kind of gave me the impression that this was an older piece. And especially too, the mark on the back here is under the glaze, but it's faded and, it's a old looking mark also. So I wasn't exactly sure at first. I've seen some Mexican pottery like this. I've seen Moroccan pottery that kind of looks a little bit similar, but I picked this up for $2.19. So whatever it was, I knew, it was definitely worth the $2 because there are no major chips or cracks or anything. And when I looked this up online, it kind of depends on the age, but I saw things like similar plates listed for like $400. Now, I don't think that price is feasible, but I definitely think I could get at least $100 for this, if not a little bit more. So it was a nice, cool find. So next thing I got here, this is just a piece of studio pottery. It's got 3 legs on the bottom, kind of a small little pot with handles. Caught my eye about this is the glaze. It's got this cool matted glaze with, some different colors, kind of fades from tan, and there's even some like dark red in there. And it is marked on the bottom. I'm not sure if somebody drilled this hole in here or if that's how it was made, but it is marked on the bottom BH. I haven't been able to ID this yet, but it's seeing how well it's made. And I like the fact that, it's a little unique with 3 little legs here, and just given the overall quality and symmetry of the piece itself with the nice glaze, it was worth the $2.99 that I found it for at Savers. So this is my most recent find, and this is a ceramic tile. And what caught my eye about this is just the detail and how nice, like all these different colors are glazed in here. They all stay within the lines. And this is it's a piece of Royal Delft, and that comes from Holland. And given, this is a thing you'll see in a lot of Delft pieces are these windmills, with the 4 arms there. It is marked on the back with the older style marking. Not exactly sure when this was made, but it was only $2.19, and these actually fetch a decent amount of money. I think it's just given, I just found this, so I don't really know exactly how much I'll be able to get for it, but for $2, I should at least be able to get $50 for it. But I need to do a little bit more research to figure that out. So over the past weekend, I actually found, I think, like 4 different pieces of art at one Goodwill, and this was one of them. And this is probably a mid to late 20th century watercolor. I liked, the different colors used in here, and it's kind of, I don't know, the flowers really stand out, and it just kind of was a pretty cool piece. I got this for, I think it was $6.99 maybe, or something around that. And it is signed, and it would be impossible for you to see it. I'm pretty sure though it says Montgomery. At first I thought I could only see the end of it. When I did a little bit closer investigation, it says Montgomery. I searched a little bit, but I haven't come up with who the artist might be. But either way, it's a really nice painting for only, I don't know, $5 to $7. So the next piece I found here is mid-century abstract painting, and it is in a nice wooden frame. And this one is signed at the bottom. It's either P or D Eckstein. I did try to do a little bit of research in the store around this, and I couldn't really find anything, but this one was only like $3.99. Just given, the older nice wood frame, and I don't know, I always tend to grab abstract art because I'm not really an expert in that kind of artwork, and I never really know, if this is a really good piece of abstract art, like looks wise, aesthetically, or if it's just an amateur piece. So if it's a cheap buy, I usually purchase it. There are a couple little chips of the paint here, but it's an abstract piece, so it's not the end of the world, I don't think. So I have no idea what I'll be able to sell this for, if I'll sell it at all. But I will do more research just to see if this artist is a listed or well-known artist. So the next piece I found at that Goodwill trip is this limited edition print. And this was done by Liddy Agassi. It's numbered 182 out of 600. And I almost walked right past this because I was like, I don't know, it's not really something I thought would hold much value, just given, I don't know, the overall look of it and stuff. Because I guess it's just not really my style, especially with the pink frame and everything. But when I looked her name up, it does have the pencil mark down here and the number and stuff. Anytime I see that, I always do a search regardless. And I actually found that her work is pretty collectible. There's people that really like her work. So this piece, I found some similar limited edition pieces listed anywhere from like $400 to $600. I don't know. I didn't find anything that actually had the sold price on it. But if they're listed for that much, then it has to be somewhat worth. I think this piece was $10.99. So it's definitely worth the grab. And I'll have to clean it up a little bit because it's kind of dusty. But one thing, you always want to make sure that you're not leaving something behind that could have some value. So always do a quick search if you can read the signature at the bottom and if it's numbered. And sometimes, those prints are only worth, $30 or $50. And if they're framed, then it's probably not the best buy just because shipping will add to that. But seeing that this one was quite a bit more, it was a good find. So here's another piece of art on that Goodwill trip. I got this piece also for $5.99. And this is kind of looks like a gallery print, but it is hand signed down here by the artist, who is Gary Bukovnik. And I just really liked the overall look of how this was done. And I think I only did a quick search on, in his original work was all listed, like his watercolors and stuff. Auction was listed over $1,000. Some pieces sold for over $1,000. So that just, I mean, if it's a hand signed nice piece like this, like a gallery print, then, you know, it's definitely, I think, worth the $5.99. They actually had two larger much larger pieces of his work, and it was from, I think, the San Francisco Orchestra or Symphony or something, some kind of event. And I almost grabbed those two because those were also hand signed, but they were way bigger and they were priced, I think, at like $22.99. So I left those behind, just not knowing exactly how much I could get for the larger pieces, and you know, the shipping would have been a lot of money. I can always go back and get them. I'm sure they'll probably still be there, but I'll just have to do a little more research. But for the meantime, this is a pretty cool gallery print. So the last piece of art that I found on that Goodwill trip, this was also in the, I think, $4.99 range. And it is hand signed by the artist, Steve Leonardi. He's a really well-known wildlife artist. And it is numbered out of, can't really tell what that says, but it's 53 out of something. So, and there is, on this one, there's a limited edition certificate just from his gallery back here. So I did recognize his work pretty quickly because I don't know, probably 4 months ago or something, I found a much larger piece like this that was a limited edition piece by him. And it was priced in the range of, you know, $200 to $300. And seeing that this was also a limited edition print by him, $4 or $5 purchase was a no-brainer. And this is obviously be much easier to ship than, I think the other piece that I got was almost 3 inches wide. So pretty cool. Just a pair of cardinals. He does obviously super realistic artwork, so this was also a good find. So now I'm going to get into some auction purchases that I made over the past couple weeks that I got shipped in. The first one here, I can't remember if I showed this before in my last video or not, but I did find out more information if I didn't show it. But it's just a piece of pottery, an older piece, at least by the looks of it. I did see, like, when I posted this, somebody said that this was a modern reproduction, but it really doesn't look like that to me, especially given, like, again, those like natural little, you know, imperfections in the glaze, and it's very hollow sounding. It doesn't really sound like, you know, the modern day ceramics to me. It's definitely a cool kind of funky base, and I found that this is Iznik pottery. It's hand painted and everything, and I got this piece. I won it for, I think, $11. I have sold some Persian type pottery like this for a couple different pieces for over $100 each. So definitely thought this was worth it. There's no marking on the bottom or anything. Just natural kind of terracotta type clay used. So kind of a cool, unique looking vase. Next thing I got at auction is this Buddhist statue or sculpture. When I purchased this was listed as carved stone, but when I got it, it's not stone. I mean, it kind of looks like stone, but it's got to be bronze or brass or something, because you can hear on the inside it's hollow. So it's definitely, there's something shaking around on the inside. So this is definitely a metal piece, painted with this green and gold. And I haven't posted this one yet. I do need to, but there's a bunch of writing on the bottom here in, whatever language this is. I have no clue. But I have sold numerous Buddhist pieces of art, whether they were folk art like carved wood, or I sold a couple different bronze pieces like bronze statues, and they do fetch a pretty good amount of money. And this one, I just got to do a little more research to see, when exactly this was made. I'm thinking probably like mid 20th century, but just given there's not a ton of detail and things like the hands and everything, but it is heavy. So we'll do a little more research and see what I can come up with. But I got this at auction, and I believe I won this for, I can't remember exactly. I think it was around $50. So my next auction buy here, this is a mixed media piece done by Ed Weiss, and it is dated 1970. And I think they said that this was a well-known, I can't even remember, but some well-known figure or something in some certain industry. I don't know. I have to go back and look. But I thought it was kind of cool. Just a different piece. And I only paid $15 for it. His work, he did a lot of different types of work on mixed media and stuff like that. And all of those were listed for a pretty decent amount of money. But they were, the ones that I saw at least, were bigger than this piece. So, I still think I could get, a pretty decent profit off of this. I'm just not exactly sure how much yet. So this is probably by far my best auction score. And this is an original oil painting on canvas by John Michael Carter, and signed and dated on the back, 1987. So I picked this piece up from an online auction, and this is Calvert Apartment is the title of it. It is signed down in the left-hand corner, but it's in perfect condition. There's nothing wrong with it. Obviously very detailed, very well done. And I found his website, and the cheapest painting I found on his website was $5,500. And I got this at auction for, I think it came out to be $275, $260, something like that. So with shipping, I think it was around $300. So this could potentially be a huge score. I just got to see, I didn't find any of his stuff listed from, on any auction sites, but on his original, his own website, most of the work that he did have listed there was sold. So he is selling his stuff. I just don't know, sought after how quick I could sell this, but I definitely think this is a huge find. Here's another auction buy that I had. I got this piece for $40, and it was listed as like an antique or old painting, but there were no pictures of the back. So obviously the frame and the way it's presented looks old. The piece itself is very detailed and really nice. But when you turn it around, it's definitely not an old piece. One, the staples used on the canvas. Two, you can tell that, the frame is newer, just given, the wood is lighter colored, and also the canvas is very light colored. Any painting that is over 100 years old, that canvas would be, a much darker color, almost brown sometimes, and the wood would be a lot more aged, and the canvas itself would be put together on the stretcher. It would be nailed, not stapled. So when I saw that, I was kind of annoyed that they listed it like that. But this still is an original piece. And this is actually after another artist, because I did an image search and I found this same painting that was done. It was a French painter, and it was done in the, I don't know, late 1800s. But when I looked at the actual painting itself, the face was noticeably enough, like still looks fairly similar, but the face definitely looked different than the original. And this is signed here at the bottom. So this is just, an oil painting reproduction. So that's not entirely bad, just because, the reproductions, if they're pretty well done, can, get a couple $100 to even upwards of like $500 I've seen. This is a Bacchanti, which is it's like a woman, almost like an elf-like something. I don't know. I can't remember exactly what the definition was, but that's what this painting portrays. So for $40, I mean, it's still a pretty decent find. And the frame is like wood and it's heavy and stuff. It's not cheaply done or anything. It's just definitely not an antique. Here's the last thing I'm going to show you today. And this was also an auction purchase. And this was done by Elizabeth Grant. It is dated down there. I can't really make it out right now, but this is it's unframed, but it's on artist board. Got this for $90. And I did find some of her other artwork, and I don't remember exactly what it was selling for, but it was a pretty decent amount of money. So I thought this was a good buy. I can easily, well, I can't say easily, but I could find a frame to fit this artist board, which I'll probably try to do just to make it so it can be hung and look a little, better in the pictures and everything. But all in all, it will also cover up some of the paint chipping kind of right by my head. The frame can help cover that stuff up. But it's a cool still life piece. Uses some good coloring and just an overall kind of a unique painting. So for $90, I'm not exactly sure what I'm going to sell this for. And I just got this in the mail either today or yesterday. I can't remember. So pretty cool. Pretty happy about this. Well, those are all the treasures that I have to show you today, which I've acquired over the past couple weeks, whether they be through online auctions or out at the thrift stores. I appreciate you guys watching. If you haven't done so yet, hit that subscribe button and click that notification bell so you know when I'm posting new videos. If you have any questions about any of the items I found, whether it be where I got it, what caught my eye about it, just drop a comment below and I will get back to you as soon as I can. I'm going to be trying to go out to the thrift stores more this week. I'm going to venture a little bit outside of my normal circle of stores, just seeing that I haven't had a ton of luck at quite a few of them. So we're going to see if we can uncover some treasures a little bit further from home. Anyway, thanks again for watching. I appreciate you guys, and good luck when you're out there treasure hunting.
Daddy, what did you